This clip was recorded by a baby monitor camera inside a children's bedroom, sometime after midnight on the 3rd of May, 2022. Two young boys sleeping in the same room, one on the bottom bunk and one in a playpen beside it. What makes the context so heavy is what the mother shared alongside the footage. The boy's father had passed away just a few months before this was recorded. She also notes that her toddler, the one in the playpen, has an extremely limited vocabulary at this stage, barely able to say more than a word or two. Watch. Stories of young children appearing to interact with unseen loved ones have existed across cultures for generations, and some spiritual traditions hold that children are especially sensitive to experiences adults no longer perceive. The combination of the pointing, the repeated attempts to say "da-da," and the recent loss of his father led many viewers to see the clip not as frightening, but as deeply comforting. Others urge more caution. Toddlers often babble sounds that resemble familiar words, point toward ordinary objects, or fixate on areas of a room for reasons adults can't easily identify. Whether he was simply babbling into the darkness, or reaching towards someone only he believed was there, the footage has remained one of those rare paranormal clips that many viewers find more heartbreaking than frightening. The following video was recorded by a woman who had just returned home from a trip to St. Louis with her daughter Penelope. Walking in late at night, expecting a quiet house, expecting nothing unusual at all. Rocky was at work, Penelope had gone straight upstairs, and the house should have been exactly as they'd left it. But as she came downstairs for a glass of water, something immediately felt off. Watch closely.
Okay, so I just got back from St. Louis with Penelope. Rocky's at work. She's upstairs. But I've literally, holy sheez. What's happening? What's happening? All over the counter. I gotta clean it up. I'm brave. I'm brave. I can do this. Turn off. Oh, crap. Okay, I can do this.
What she found wasn't subtle. Cabinet doors hanging wide open in the pantry, another small cabinet door on the kitchen island sitting crooked and ajar, and crumbs scattered across the counter like something had been into the food while she was gone. She insists no one was in the house. Penelope had been upstairs the entire time, and there's no explanation she's given for how the doors got that way. Some viewers think this is a classic sign of poltergeist-type activity, disturbances that seem almost domestic in nature, not threatening on their own, but deeply unsettling because they happen in the most ordinary spaces. Others aren't convinced, but it's harder to dismiss when you look at what her neighbor captured that same period. It didn't stop there. According to her, the neighbor was so disturbed by what her Ring camera picked up that she sent the footage over herself. That alone should tell you something. Listen closely. The porch is completely empty. No person, no animal, nothing moving anywhere in the frame. And yet, the knocking just keeps going, loud and hollow, irregular enough that it doesn't feel like a pipe or a settling structure, persistent enough that the neighbor apparently didn't want to keep it to herself. On September 3rd of 2020, at just before 10 p.m., whatever was at that door never showed its face. St. Louis has long carried its own reputation for this kind of thing. The Lemp Mansion alone has been called one of the 10 most haunted places in America, and some viewers familiar with the city's history weren't surprised at all. Whether the open cabinets and the knocking are connected or just two strange nights in the same house, the question that keeps coming back is simple. What was on the other side of that door? Now, in this next clip, someone is parked outside a house they claim has been vacant for 4 years, filming from inside their vehicle at 4:30 in the morning. According to them, no one has lived there, no one has been inside, and nothing about that should have changed. But something made them stop. Watch. The most obvious explanation is squatters. An abandoned house can easily attract people looking for shelter, and someone inside turning lights on and off would account for much of what you're seeing, but that explanation raises its own questions. Why would someone be moving around an abandoned house at 4:30 in the morning with the lights repeatedly flickering, drawing attention to themselves? And if the property has really been occupied for some time, how has no one in the neighborhood noticed before now? Those who lean toward a paranormal explanation point to another possibility. In ghost lore, unexplained electrical disturbances, particularly light switching on and off or flickering inside long abandoned buildings, are often described as one of the most commonly reported signs of alleged hauntings. Many paranormal investigators believe that if an unexplained presence exists, it may interfere with electrical systems, although there is no scientific evidence supporting that claim. Whether the flickering lights were caused by someone quietly living inside, a fault in an aging electrical system, or something far more difficult to explain, one thing is certain. For a house that was supposed to be empty, it looked remarkably alive. Now, in this next video, a man woke up to a security camera notification at 3 in the morning, footage of himself doing something he has absolutely no memory of. He'd been taking sleeping pills to manage what he assumed were bad nights, restless sleep, the kind of exhaustion that builds slowly until it becomes something harder to shake. But when he checked the notification, what he found on that camera wasn't just tossing and turning. It had happened at 3 a.m., and he'd slept straight through it without a single memory of waking up. He looks into the camera to explain all of this, calm but visibly unsettled, and then he shows you what the security footage actually caught. Watch.
I woke up to a security camera notification at 3:03 this morning of movement. It's like 5 something now. I don't know what I was doing. I thought I slept through the night. I don't remember waking up. I've been taking more of my sleeping pills recently, but I don't know if that's a side effect. Don't know why I would go down there. I'm just so tired. What do I do? Do I board the door up? I don't know. I'm just so tired.
What the cameras recorded is deeply disturbing. He launches out of bed with a speed that doesn't look natural, runs through the living room in a blur of motion, and slams hard into a wall or door frame on the other side. And he remembers none of it. He closes the video exhausted, asking simply, "What do I do?" Some people in the comments immediately pointed to night terrors or a severe parasomnia episode, possibly triggered or worsened by the sleeping medication he mentioned, and that's a reasonable explanation on the surface. But others weren't so sure. The way he moves, not groggy, not slow, but fast and completely purposeful, is what unsettled a lot of viewers. Some familiar with cases of spiritual oppression believe this kind of involuntary, frantic nighttime behavior can be a sign of an external presence, something that takes control when the mind is most vulnerable and the body is left unguarded. It didn't stop there. In the follow-up clip, he explains that after this, he boarded up the basement, not just to keep whatever was down there from getting out, but, as he put it, to keep himself from getting in. Watch. If something in that basement was already influencing him while he slept, driving him out of bed, pulling him through the house, what exactly was it trying to reach? And did boarding that door actually stop anything, or just make whatever's down there angrier? You decide what to make of all of it. This next clip was recorded inside what appears to be a cluttered, dimly lit home at night, and it starts with someone pointing their phone at a security camera screen in one of the rooms. No audio, no explanation, just a person quietly filming the footage they'd already caught. Something had clearly made them want to look closer. Watch.
La cámara nos detectó movimiento. Vean. Mira, Ceci, sí.
¡Hala!
Pero no le veo el cuerpo.
Ajá, no.
Nada más se le ve el rostro.
Los...
Ve a la niña. No le veo el cuerpo ni le veo el rostro. Y está la luz prendida, ¿eh? Aquí se quedan, voy a ir a ver.
Sí, aquí nos quedamos.
Miren, amigos. ¿Ya vieron? Sí. Voy a ir a ver. Oye, ¿escuchaste el grito?
No, mamá.
La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Ni para decir, amigos, que está todo prendido ahí abajo, pero escuche. Mis hijos no están aquí en la casa, amigos, están de vacaciones. ¿Quién anda ahí? Oiga, escuche. ¿Quién anda ahí? La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. 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 Quien sea que seas, lárgate de aquí. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Tú no perteneces aquí. Lárgate de aquí. Lárgate de aquí. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Lárgate de aquí. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
Right there in the center of the doorway, a pale, semi-translucent face materializes out of the darkness. Dark, hollow eyes, the suggestion of a mouth, and it just lingers there for a few seconds before fading back into the black. It's blurry, partly because this is a phone recording a screen, but if you focus on the shape before it fades, it's hard to dismiss it as a smudge or a lens artifact. After catching that on the security feed, they walk through the house, down a concrete staircase, past a cluttered living space, and eventually push into the dark doorway where the face appeared. That room turns out to be a storage area, completely dark inside. They don't find anything. Some viewers think what appeared in that doorway was a residual apparition, an impression left behind by someone who once lived there. Others aren't so sure, especially with a doll sitting in a rocking chair nearby. What do you think was standing in that doorway? This next clip was recorded by a delivery driver in the UK who was out on a late night work shift. And at 2:20 in the morning, while slowly driving along a quiet road, something caught his eye that made him stop the car entirely. He'd been making his rounds through what looked like an ordinary residential area when his headlights swept across a small playground set back from the road, bordered by a low metal fence. Nothing about the street looked unusual. No one was out. But something about that playground didn't sit right with him, and he pulled over to get a closer look. Watch. One single swing on the A-frame set is moving back and forth in a slow, steady rhythm, while every other swing on the same set hangs completely still. The surrounding grass and trees show no sign of wind. Nothing is pushing it. The detail that gets people is, at first it seems as though a childlike figure was on the swing, but when they went back to check, no one was there. Some viewers think it's residual energy, the idea that a location can hold the echo of repeated motion, especially in places where children play often. Others go straight to the more unsettling interpretation that whatever was using that swing simply couldn't be seen. Skeptics point to a consistent breeze channeled between buildings, which could explain the motion even without visible effects on nearby foliage. 3 explanations, and the footage doesn't cleanly rule out any of them. So what exactly was sitting in that swing at 2:20 in the morning? The following clips were recorded by the same woman over what appears to be a string of increasingly unsettling days at her home. A place that, on the surface, looks completely ordinary, but where something seems to have made itself comfortable. It starts simply enough. She's outside in her backyard on an overcast autumn day, walking through the dry leaves, filming a dead tree that caught her eye. Gnarled, full of dark holes, a little out of place among the others. She says she doesn't know what the metal bracket bolted to the trunk is for. She's curious, unbothered, almost cheerful. But as she crouches near the base of that tree, among the red leaves and the fallen branches, something catches her attention. Watch.
So I have a bunch of trees in my backyard, but there's this one that doesn't look like the other trees. So I'm gonna go check that one out because it has pretty red leaves or flowers next to it, and it's interesting. I'm wearing my work boots, so in case my dog runs off, I'm not chasing after her barefoot. So here's the tree. It's dead, but it's very pretty. And there's these weird things that are in it. I don't know what that's for. And it has crazy holes that I like. But here's the pretty red things. Flowers. No, they're leaves. Those are leaves. Oh. I like you. What is that?
She reaches down and lifts a clean white animal skull from the leaves. Empty eye sockets, prominent canines, not decomposing, just sitting there like it had been placed. A clean skull lying at the base of a dead tree isn't automatically sinister, and she doesn't treat it that way. But for viewers who've seen what comes next in her footage, many believe it fits a pattern. Some think it's nothing more than a fox or raccoon that passed nearby. Others think the placement, at the root of a dead tree, in a yard where so much else would soon go wrong, is too deliberate to dismiss entirely. That changed everything. Back inside the house, around the same period, she captures something harder to rationalize. The dog, Luna, is already alert, running down the hallway toward a set of closed double doors. Watch.
Luna, come on.
The sleigh bells hanging from the doorknobs are shaking violently and ringing loud and fast, with nothing visible touching them. No draft, no person, nothing in contact with the doors. Luna runs straight toward them, which is the detail that gets me. Dogs typically flee from things that startle them, not charge toward them, which some viewers interpret as Luna trying to confront whatever's on the other side. The bells stop almost the instant the front door opens. That abrupt silence is almost more unsettling than the ringing itself. A few days later, with a friend or family member visiting, things escalate inside the kitchen. The two women are talking casually, one of them chatting to a cat sitting on the counter, when something interrupts the whole room. Listen closely.
What you doing on the counter? Chilling here, being a kitty cat.
Did you do that?
A loud bang with no visible source, and then a bundle of what looks like dry spaghetti launches upward from behind a dining chair and arcs across the room, sending the woman in purple scrambling backward and nearly out of frame. The cat flinches. The camera operator asks, "Did you do that?" And the woman says simply, "No." Short answer, no explanation. Skeptics argue a person hidden behind the chair could have thrown it, but the trajectory, up and outward from floor level, is difficult to account for without being caught on camera. Poltergeist activity, according to those who study it, often follows this pattern: small, disruptive, physical. Objects moved or thrown, not by a ghost in the traditional sense, but by a kind of displaced energy sometimes associated with periods of high stress or emotional tension in a household. Whatever the cause, the activity isn't slowing down. Caught on her Nest security camera at 11:23 a.m., the footage shows her lying on the couch in pink pajamas when the entire room is rattled. Watch. A sharp, loud bang from somewhere off camera, silent, percussive, echoing, jolts her straight up, and she runs out of the room within seconds, disappearing through a background doorway. The camera shakes with the impact. There's no visible source, no falling object in frame, nothing displaced in the room itself. She doesn't come back on screen. What's compelling about this one is that it's a security camera. She didn't choose to film this moment. It was recorded automatically, which makes staging it considerably harder to argue. The same day or around it, Luna is standing on her hind legs at the window, visibly agitated, when the woman notices the bathroom faucet is running at full blast. She turns it off and walks back to the living room. Then, it happens again. Watch.
And water's on. She's flipping out.
Holy crap, Mom! What are you eating? Mom, really feel the purpose. I'll probably feel better.
Literally just turned back on as soon as I sat down.
I don't see the forest.
Oh my god. Luna.
I'm here.
She's barely sat down when the water turns back on by itself, audible from a different room, and she has to go shut it off a second time. Then the doorbell rings clearly, and when she checks the window and the porch, there's nobody there. Not across the street, not on the path, not near the mailbox. Luna is already at the door before she gets there. Some viewers think this cluster of events, the faucet, the bell, the dog's fixation on unseen things, points to an intelligent presence, one that's interacting with the house rather than just haunting a specific room. Others suggest a plumbing fault for the faucet and a technical glitch for the doorbell, but the timing, back to back in the same clip, makes the mundane explanations feel strained. The last clip shifts the setting outdoors at dusk to a dirt path bordered by dark trees. Luna has already appeared in several of these clips, reacting before her owner does, and in this one that pattern reaches its most extreme point. The woman is walking Luna on the leash through what looks like an open field at the edge of the tree line when Luna stops cold, locks her gaze on something ahead in the darkness, and refuses to move. Watch.
Luna. 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 What? Go home. Luna, go home. Come on. No, 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 no. Luna, come on. Stop.
After a long, still moment of staring into the dark, Luna bolts forward with enough force to pull the leash completely out of the woman's hand and runs into the field. The woman calls her back urgently. Luna, go home. No, no. But Luna stays out in the dark, circling at a distance, occasionally stopping to look back toward the tree line as though tracking something. What dogs detect that cameras can't is the part of this footage that sits with you. Whether it's a scent, a sound outside human range, or something else entirely, Luna's behavior across all of these clips, the bells, the window, the porch, the field, follows the same shape. She knows something is there before her owner does, and whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The following video was recorded by a man who was working a delivery run late at night when his route took him past a cemetery. The kind of moment most people would shrug off, except this time it didn't let him go. He's driving an SUV, dashcam running in split screen mode showing both the road ahead and the interior of the car, and you can see him glance over at the fence line as he sits at a red light, muttering quietly about the cemetery next to him. He keeps driving, keeps his composure, tells himself it's nothing. And then something enters his car. Watch.
Doing my usual Uber eating, dropping off some food. I swear, this all address gotta be set by the cemetery. But I see this again, I'm just not gonna accept it. I'll tell you that. Make sure I'm not tripping. No. Make sure I'm not tripping. So, I'm dropping off the DoorDash. The Uber eating. I can't even get my daggone company straight. And you're gonna see a vibration. You're gonna see tapping at the window. You're definitely gonna hear it. Hell no. Hell no. Tripping. No, I'm not tripping. Oh, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no, hell no. Okay. What the? Why? What the? No. Hell, what the fuck? Shit, I mean, shit. Hell, no. Hell. Nope. No.
There are 3 separate moments in this footage, and each one is harder to dismiss than the last. The first is the subtlest, a faint translucent shape in the back seat, there for barely a second before it's gone, and his gasp is immediate and unscripted. He pulls over near the cemetery, gets out to check the car, and that's when the second moment hits. A shoe on the discarded cardboard box moved. But the third moment is arguably the most unsettling. Back inside the car, his car didn't start, and while he was trying to figure out why, one of the doors opened itself. Some who've watched this point to the escalating nature of the encounters. Subtle entry, then external manifestation, then direct interference with the car's electronics. As behavior consistent with what some paranormal traditions describe as an attachment in transit, a presence that latches onto a person rather than a location. Others think the proximity to the cemetery is the key detail. There's a long-held belief across multiple cultures that spirits tied to burial grounds are territorial, and that passing too close, especially at night, can invite something to follow. What do you think crossed into that car? The following videos were recorded by a man who had just finished construction work on a house that had been sitting completely empty for months. But one day, the slats of the blinds push apart from the inside 3 separate times, creating a V-shaped gap. And a dark shape, consistent with fingers, briefly appears in that opening before the blinds snap back into place. No one was there. The house had been vacant, and he insists no person was inside when this was filmed. Some viewers chalked it up to air pressure or a draft catching the slats at just the right angle. Others weren't buying it, pointing out the deliberate, repeated nature of the movement. 3 times, same motion, same spot, as if whatever was on the other side of those blinds kept coming back to look out. That detail is hard to dismiss. Then, it got worse. Listen closely.
Hey, Missy? Miss? That looks weird. What the frick is going on here, brother?
A loud, sharp thump rocks the space at around the 11-second mark, and right after it, the night vision on the security camera flickers completely off before snapping back on. He stops, startled, calls out, no answer. Then, as he moves deeper down the hall, a long groaning sound, low, drawn out, with no visible source anywhere in that empty building. Skeptics argue an unfinished structure naturally settles and shifts, especially at night when temperatures drop. But the sequencing here is what makes that harder to accept. The sounds don't drift or fade the way passive settling does. They escalate, one after another, almost like something in that house was making itself known on purpose. What would you do in this situation? The following video was recorded on a Ring security camera inside what appears to be a bedroom, a tidy, softly lit space at night. The kind of room that feels completely ordinary right up until it doesn't. According to the person who shared this footage, they were home alone, with no roommates in the house, no one expected, no one nearby. Watch.
Yeah?
At the 3-second mark, 2 sharp, firm knocks ring out. Clear, deliberate, exactly the kind of sound you'd hear if someone's knuckles connected with a wooden door. And she responds naturally, calmly calling out, "Yeah?" from somewhere off camera, as if she fully expected someone to answer. No one did. The room stays completely still. No door opens, no footsteps follow, nothing moves. That's what makes it so unsettling. A knock that deliberate doesn't happen on its own. Some viewers think it's residual energy, the idea that certain spaces replay past actions like a loop, a knock from someone who used to live there, still reaching for an answer. Others aren't convinced by that and lean towards something more active, something that knew she was home. What you're left with is a sound that had intention behind it, and a silence afterward that's harder to explain than the knock itself. The following video was recorded by a man doing what he does most nights, walking around his compound making sure everything was as he left it. At dusk, he starts filming himself on his phone, giving a casual walkthrough of the yard. A couple of sheds, some trees, nothing unusual. But as the light fades completely and he switches to a flashlight to navigate the dark, something stops him. Watch.
What the f... Sound like a twig snapping behind me. As y'all can see, ain't nobody here, it's just me. Because people like to say I got people hiding in places. Oh, man. The chills I just got. Oh, my heart is racing. Okay, we're gonna see it through. We're gonna see it through. So I've been sitting out here now for about maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm not really sure at this point. Not much else has happened. Aside from the noise that I heard in front of me, the twig snapping, which could have just been a twig falling from the tree. Nothing's really gone on. So I think I'm just gonna get ready to just like wrap it up, and because I gotta get ready to go to work anyway. But oh my, holy, I don't know if the camera picked that up. That was loud as fudge. It sounded like something hitting the thing, the shed. I hope the other camera is recording. If it is, I'm gonna include that footage. That was loud. These damn animals are going crazy tonight. You can't even see me. I don't know why I turned the damn camera. You can't see me. I'm trying to do this. I heard that. Clear as day. I heard leave as clear as day. Nope. Time to go. Okay. Later.
The shed door he insists he locked earlier that night is standing open. He pushes it shut, latches it, and then, after a moment of hesitation, decides to go inside. What he finds on the shelves isn't a tool chest or garden equipment. It's dozens of Lalaloopsy dolls, all in their original packaging, lined up in neat rows like they've been carefully arranged and waiting. A child's rocking horse sits on the floor. It's the kind of discovery that doesn't make sense in a shed like this, on a property like this, at this hour. Then, while he's standing there taking it all in, he looks off to his left, and whatever he sees makes him let out a sharp, guttural yell before the camera drops and the footage cuts. You never see what he reacted to. Some viewers think the collection itself is the real story, that objects associated with children, especially dolls, have long been connected in paranormal accounts to residual energy or to something that uses familiar, comforting forms to draw people closer. Skeptics argue the whole thing reads more like a short horror film than a genuine patrol gone wrong, pointing to the neat narrative arc and the perfectly timed text overlay. But his reaction in that final moment, the pitch of that yell, the way the camera just drops, is difficult to explain away. So what do you think was standing in that shed? This next video was recorded on a home security camera overnight. No one in the house, no one in the room, just a static infrared shot of a living room sitting completely empty. Viewers initially suggested it could be another member of the household walking through the home during the night. That's certainly one possibility. But according to the person who shared the footage, everyone in the house was asleep when the camera captured it, and no one could account for anyone walking that hallway at that hour. Others pointed toward the idea of a shadow person, one of the most commonly reported apparitions in paranormal cases. Unlike traditional ghost sightings, shadow figures are often described not as transparent spirits, but as solid, featureless silhouettes that appear briefly in peripheral spaces such as hallways, staircases, and doorways before vanishing without a trace. Interestingly, hallways themselves have long held symbolic significance in folklore. They're transitional spaces, connecting one room to another, neither destination nor origin. Across various traditions, liminal places like hallways, thresholds, and doorways have often been regarded as places where the boundary between the ordinary world and the unknown feels unusually thin. Whether that's what this camera captured or simply someone who somehow went unnoticed remains impossible to prove. But if there really was no one awake in that house, then who or what was quietly walking through the hallway while everyone slept? This next video was recorded at night inside what appears to be a home. A living room, a kitchen, a dark outdoor space glimpsed through a barred window. And from the very first frame, something already feels off. The person filming moves through the space in near total silence, sweeping a powerful light source through the rooms, the kind of light that shifts between green and red and throws everything into harsh, disorienting shadows. A child's tricycle sits near a speaker stand. Framed photos line an entertainment unit. Normal things in a space that doesn't feel normal anymore. For the first 2 minutes, there's no audio at all, just the flicker of colored lights, the unsteady movement of a handheld camera, and a slow, creeping sense that whatever has drawn this man through his own home is getting closer. Watch.
Vade retro satana, itzi, milivana, non draco, elevas, itse venena vivas. Vade retro satana. Vade retro satana. Y estoy, amigos, con ustedes. No tengan miedo. Que si yo no tengo miedo, ustedes tampoco. Lo Virgo. No, fue mala idea decir esas mamadas. El agua. Está lloviendo. Cruz sacra sit mi y lux, non draco sit mi y dux, va de retro satana, nun quan suade mini vana, sud mala, elevas, bit se venena vivas. Aquí fui.
The handle moves as though someone or something is trying to force its way inside. Many viewers suggested there could have been an ordinary explanation. Perhaps someone outside had mistaken the house, or strong wind was putting pressure on the door. Those possibilities can't be ruled out. Others weren't convinced. Across many folklore traditions, an unseen presence attempting to gain entry carries a particular significance. Stories from Europe, Asia, and Latin America often describe supernatural entities as remaining outside a home until they are invited in, or until someone willingly opens the door. Whether those tales are symbolic or literal depends entirely on who you ask, but they all share one common warning. Don't open the door simply because something on the other side wants your attention. That detail is what unsettled so many viewers. Whatever was outside never announced itself. And sometimes, the things you never see are far more frightening than the ones you do. On another night, the man was jolted awake by a sound coming from the same part of the house. Expecting to find a window open or something that had fallen over, he grabbed his phone and started recording as he made his way into the room. What he found was far stranger. Watch. A wooden rocking chair is moving back and forth on its own. Not a slight wobble, and not the kind of movement you'd expect after someone has just stood up. It's rocking steadily, over and over again, as though someone is still sitting in it, even though the room is completely empty. He slowly scans the area, looking for anything that could explain it. Nothing. No one is there. Rocking chairs have occupied a strange place in ghost stories for generations. From old family homes to abandoned farmhouses, they're often portrayed as symbols of an unseen occupant, something present but invisible. While folklore isn't evidence, the image of an empty chair rocking by itself has become one of the most enduring motifs in paranormal accounts because it creates the unsettling impression that a space is occupied even when it appears vacant. The following video was recorded by a man named David, who has been dealing with strange, escalating activity inside his home for what appears to be a significant stretch of time, long enough that he's stopped being surprised by individual events and started trying to document a pattern. On this particular night, he woke to sounds he couldn't immediately explain, grabbed his phone, and began moving through the dark hallway with nothing but the screen's glow lighting the way. A person named Frida was asleep in a red hammock in the living room, completely undisturbed, while David made his way from room to room checking each door. He'd said earlier that he thought it had all stopped. Watch.
Yo creo que ya se había acabado. Se empezó a mover. No hay nadie. Y esa es Frida. Aquí no hay nada ni nadie. Ya se había detenido todo esto. No sé.
The doorknob turned on its own, slowly, deliberately, and the door swung open into darkness, with no one on the other side. The most unnerving moment came last. A disembodied female voice, close and clear, whispered his name, David, in a room he was alone in. 3 separate events in under 2 minutes is the kind of escalation that tends to shift how people think about a case, and it clearly shifted something for David too, because what comes next is a full investigation. Watch closely.
Ahí se escucha. Ya está, antes de voy a encender la luz de esto.
In the days that followed, David installed security cameras, scattered talcum powder on the floor to track movement, and started recording everything. The cameras caught a faint voice that sounds like a child saying, "I hate you, Dad," in an empty room. And on March 28th of 2026, at around 1:30 in the morning, the security footage captured a fast-moving white shape darting behind a box and appearing to vanish into a large mirror. Some viewers believe it's what David himself called La Niña, the girl, suggesting something or someone has made that mirror a point of entry or exit. Others pointed to the diorama on David's desk, a hollowed-out CRT television containing a doll styled after the figure from The Ring, and wondered whether bringing that kind of object into the home had anything to do with what's been happening. David says he's considering opening the doll and has asked for advice from anyone familiar with these situations. What's harder to dismiss is the combination: a voice that knows his name, a shape that disappears into a mirror, and footprints that haven't appeared in the powder yet. But that's exactly the kind of detail that makes you wonder what David's going to find when he checks it next time. Now, in this next clip, a man is home alone when something inside his basement begins violently demanding to be let out. For several seconds, the door to the basement shakes and rattles in its frame with a force that sounds less like a draft and more like something throwing its full weight against the wood from the other side. He's holding his phone, standing in the hallway, and you can hear it before you even see it. Loud, aggressive, rhythmic banging that doesn't stop for over 10 seconds. Watch.
What in the hell is that sound? What the hell is that? I don't hear it now.
The door rattles like something is furious on the other side, and when he finally opens it, the basement staircase looks undisturbed. Just a few cardboard boxes sitting on the steps. But then there's a cut in the footage, and that's where things shift. A deep guttural growl fills the audio, raw and animalistic, and his breathing immediately goes ragged. When he gets the nerve to open that door a second time, the boxes have moved. Not fallen. Moved. The single box on the left has slid further down and closer to the wall, and the stack on the right has shifted position entirely. If you compare both door openings side by side, the displacement is hard to dismiss. Some viewers think whatever was banging wanted to be seen, and once it realized the camera was off, it finished what it started. Others believe the growl and the movement are two separate things sharing the same basement. He said he didn't hear it anymore once he opened the door the second time. That might be the most unsettling detail of all. The following video is about Nate, someone many viewers already recognize for the strange and often unsettling activity that seems to follow him wherever he goes. Over time, people began pointing something out to him, that he might be giving whatever it is too much attention, and that constantly reacting to it could actually be making things worse. So he decided to try something different. He started ignoring it. No reactions, no engagement, just going about his day like nothing was there. But that didn't last long because one morning, this happened. Watch.
Alright. So you people tell me to ignore things, so... Tell me what the fuck that is. I have things going on in here and in the bathroom right above me, or some upstairs above me at the same time. But, you know, I'll just ignore it. And it's not as simple as people think. Unless people experience these things, then it's not as easy as just ignoring it when this shit happens to you. I don't working on it.
Once again, you can hear faint whispers in the background, unclear but definitely there. And what makes this moment even more unsettling is that just seconds before he started recording, the cabinet where the cup falls from was completely closed. Moments like this are why many believe that attention plays a role in these situations. Some say that reacting to activity can strengthen whatever is causing it, almost like feeding it energy, but others argue the opposite, that ignoring it doesn't make it go away, it just makes it find other, more aggressive ways to be noticed. And for Nate, it doesn't stop at home, because as much as he deals with this inside his house, his workplace isn't any different. Watch this.
All right. Good morning, ghosts. Happy Friday to you guys, too. Well, I don't really see anything out of place or kind of... Everything looks... Oh. I could feel that. I could feel that. Did I offend you by saying good morning? That's different. All right, I take back the good morning then. Oh, okay. We're gonna do this now. All right. I take back good morning then. Jesus Christ. Well, now the knocking on the walls has started once again. Just figure out, turn the camera on and see if I can catch it, because I mean it was every wall. Like, and it's inside because when it did it on this wall, this and the chains were slightly swaying. So that tells me I wish I can understand what whatever this is wanted.
At the cemetery where he works, something can be heard bang against the walls of the garage over and over again. Not random noises, but heavy, deliberate impacts, like something trying to get his attention from the other side. Some believe this could be tied to the environment itself. Cemeteries are often associated with residual energy, places where emotions, grief, and history linger. Others think it could be something more direct, something that may have attached itself to Nate, following him between locations. And then there's one of the strangest things he's come across at work. Watch.
We have this morning. Just one. No other ones. Just one single claw print or weird handprint. Fingers are super long. They look a little sharp on the edge, like small scratches underneath. And there is it's almost like it was jumping up there, but I don't see anything.
On the floor, there's a deep claw-like marks, just one, as if something appeared, dragged across the surface once, and vanished. Some viewers even claimed to hear whispers toward the end of the clip, though no one could clearly make out what was being said. So what could leave a mark like that? This one remains unsolved. In this next video, a father shares an experience that completely changed the way he sees his own home. For some time, there had been small things he couldn't fully explain, moments where he thought he heard movement late at night, or faint sounds coming from parts of the house that should have been empty. Nothing too obvious, just enough to make him uneasy, but not enough to convince himself something was wrong, until one night, he suddenly woke up to the sound of his son crying, not a soft whimper, but the kind of crying that makes you get up immediately. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his room to check on him, but something didn't feel right, so he decided to check the camera. Watch closely.
No. Good. No.
You can hear it clearly, a child crying, but then something else happens. A figure moves past, and for a brief moment, it looks like the shape of a child. Yet, something about it feels off. The movement isn't natural, the timing doesn't match the crying, and the presence itself feels separate from the sound. And this is where things start to get really disturbing, because when he finally checked on his son was fine. Not crying, not awake, just sleeping, which raises a terrifying possibility. Some viewers believe this could be a case of something imitating familiar sounds to draw attention, possibly to lure someone out of their room. It's a theory often mentioned in cases where voices or cries are heard, but don't match any real person in the house. Others think it could be a shadow figure manifesting briefly, using sound and movement together to make its presence known. But whatever it was, it knew exactly what would get his attention. So if that wasn't his son crying, then what was it? I'll let you be the judge. Now, in this next clip, Isaac, the man living in that old property with 2 haunted sheds, a place already known for strange activity that seems to grow worse over time, shares an update on his current situation. On this particular day, Isaac was doing a live stream, going about things normally, when a strange sound suddenly caught his attention. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make him stop mid-sentence and go check it out. Watch this.
Y'all heard it too. Y'all heard it too? Because I know I heard something. I know I'm not going crazy. I'm standing right here with y'all. I'm standing right here with y'all. My hands. My hands. I'm standing right here with y'all. Just burn the whole house at this point. I can't, they ain't got nowhere to live. Oh. Ah. Ooh. Ow. Oh. Just hit my leg. I hit my knee so bad. Oh my God, that hurt. Oh.
Isaac had previously explained that this room used to belong to the grandfather who owned the land, and according to family members, he always preferred warm temperatures. It was something very specific about him, something only people close to him would know. And just to rule out any easy explanations, Isaac made it clear during the live stream that the other remote was in the living room, and the remotes don't control each other, something he had tested before when he once misplaced one of them. So if no one was in the room, and no remote was being used, then what turned it on? Some viewers believe this could be the grandfather's presence, something familiar, almost routine, repeating what he used to do when he was alive. But others aren't so convinced, because what happens next changes the tone completely. Tired of everything happening around him, Isaac eventually decided to bless the house, and for a few days, things were quiet. Almost too quiet, until this happened. Watch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Like I said, I've left the living room and I've officially moved into the bedroom now, and it's what the hell? Well, well, I was gonna say, that it's been pretty calm all day. Somebody did ask me if they bless the sheds, and the answer is no. They actually didn't. For some reason, my landlord was pretty adamant about leaving the sheds alone. We did the furthest one where the memorial is, but the one near the house and the one with the car in it, she was absolutely adamant that that would not be blessed, that would not be touched, and so we didn't touch it. I didn't ask any questions. Her reaction wasn't like mean or anything. She was just like, yeah, I don't like that's not a good idea. Almost kind of like, not just leave it alone type of thing. So, I mean, other than that, it's been a really good day. It's been a really damn good day, to be perfectly honest with you. Why are my windows so foggy? Look at this. Look how foggy my windows are. Look, these two. Can you even see it? I don't even know if you can see it. It's like mad condensation. Why is there so much condensation on my flipping window? I didn't run. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, to be perfectly honest with you, but guess I'll go ahead and finish getting ready for work. Watching Wicked while I get dressed. Alright, talk to you later.
A door suddenly closes on its own, the light shuts off, and for those listening closely with headphones, some claim they can hear a faint voice saying, "Go away." And that's what really unsettled people, because if that voice is real, then whatever is there doesn't just exist, it has intent. Some viewers believe this might be a reaction to the blessing itself. There's a theory that if a space is only partially cleansed, whatever is there can simply move to the uncleansed areas, and in Isaac's case, that would be the sheds. And there's another layer to this. Isaac mentioned he wasn't allowed to cleanse the sheds, which raises a disturbing possibility. If something is tied to those sheds, and you cleanse only the house, then you're not removing it, you're cornering it. And according to many who study these cases, that can make whatever's there more aggressive. So now the question is, was that the grandfather making his presence known? Or was it something else entirely? Something that doesn't want Isaac on that property anymore? You decide. In the following video, a man named Moses and his family were on their way home one evening when his daughter insisted they stop by a small playground near their house. It was a simple request, just a few minutes to play before heading in. Reluctantly, he agreed. The kid played, laughed, and enjoyed the quiet moment. But as time passed, something about the place began to feel off. The kind of uneasiness you can't explain, like being watched without seeing anyone. Then, just as they were about to leave, Moses saw it clearly. Someone was there, hiding. He turned his camera toward a nearby tree and started calling out, asking whoever was there to show themselves. And then, it did. Watch.
No te vas a golpear la resbaladilla cuando te bajes. ¿Me bajo? Sí. Ah. ¡Ey, Dana! Mira, espérate. Dana, ven. Vénganse para acá. Mira, cheque. A ver, miren el árbol aquel. No, la neta, te lo juro que yo miraba algo. Como que se asomaba. A ver, vengan. Ya me dio miedo. No, es que yo miré algo, neta. No pasa nada. No, mi amor, no pasa nada, ven. No era nada, ven. ¿Qué? ¿Qué es? No sé, no. Irga, sí se miró. ¡Hey! ¿Quién está ahí? Yo sí miré, alcancé a ver algo. Mira, ¿te checaste? ¿Viste? ¿Qué es eso? A ver. Oh, mira. ¿Qué es eso? Ay, no. ¡Hey! ¡Lujo! ¡Asómate!
Something peeks from behind the tree, not once, but twice, just enough to confirm that they weren't alone. At that moment, the family didn't wait to find out more. They quickly left, trying to brush it off with nervous laughter as they walked away. But after posting the video, the comments made things worse. People began sharing their own experiences about that same playground, especially after sunset. Some claimed they had seen figures standing near the trees, watching silently until noticed. Others described hearing footsteps behind them with no one there, or catching glimpses of something ducking out of sight the moment they turned to look. A few even said the place feels completely normal during the day, but changes the moment it starts getting dark, as if something else uses that space when no one is supposed to be there. So what was hiding behind that tree? For now, this one remains a mystery. In this next video, Chris and his wife are trying to finally settle an argument that's been going on for a long time. Both of them have been experiencing strange things in their home, but they don't agree on what's causing it. Chris leans toward logical explanations: faulty wiring, loose fixtures, anything that can be explained. His wife, on the other hand, believes there's something else in the house, something they can't see but can definitely feel. So to settle it once and for all, they installed cameras everywhere. One night, while they were asleep, the cameras caught this. Watch. The stove turns on by itself, as if someone physically turned it on. Up until this point, many viewers believed the activity in their home might be tied to something harmless, possibly even a child's spirit, especially based on earlier clips where objects were lightly moved or knocked over. But after seeing this, people started to think differently, because this isn't just movement. This is dangerous, something that could have easily caused a fire. And that's why some believe this might not be something playful or harmless anymore, but something more aggressive, something with intent. And for a while, all the activity seemed to center around one place, the kitchen. Take a look at this. This doesn't look like it slipped, looks like something deliberately pushed it. According to Chris, this has become part of their daily routine. They go to bed with everything in place and wake up to the kitchen in complete disarray, cabinets disturbed, items out of place, forcing them to clean up every single morning. At this point, it's no longer about whether something is happening. It's about what is doing it and why the kitchen. What do you think? The following video was recorded by a young man who, by the time he started filming, already knew something was deeply wrong. You can hear it in the first words out of his mouth, that shaky, nervous admission that everything was going downhill fast. He's inside a bathroom, holding his camera, the warm light catching the walls and the towel rack and the mirror like any ordinary room. Except he's moving the camera like someone who doesn't know where the threat is coming from, which direction to watch, what to prepare for. He even says he needs to find a weapon. That alone tells you everything about the state he's in. Watch.
I don't know what's going on, but like, everything's going downhill. I need to find a weapon. No! Get away! No! Get away! No!
Just before the lights suddenly cut out, a figure appears to peek for a few seconds. Then everything goes dark. Almost immediately, the knocking starts, then a rapid series of heavy blows, as though someone, or something, is trying to force its way inside. Some viewers believe the peeking figure could have been another person in the house, briefly caught by the camera before stepping away, while the knocking may have come from a family member or someone outside the room. Others focused on the sequence of events instead. The figure appears, the lights fail, then the knocking begins. In paranormal folklore, doorways have long been regarded as thresholds, places of transition where encounters are said to occur more frequently than in open spaces. Whether symbolic or purely coincidental, many stories describe unexplained figures lingering at entrances before making their presence known through knocks, taps, or other attempts to draw attention. Whether this was an elaborate prank, an unfortunate coincidence, or something far more unsettling remains impossible to prove. In this next clip, a man inside what appears to be a residential space has been dealing with something he describes as a haunting, and on this particular night, whatever's been following his household made itself impossible to ignore. Watch.
Oi.
He pushes through into a dark, unfinished room and then out into an even darker space, the camera light sweeping wildly across bare concrete and cluttered walls, while that wailing never breaks, never shifts in tone, never reacts to his presence. Some viewers immediately pointed to La Llorona, a figure rooted in Latin American folklore, described as a weeping woman whose cries are said to draw people toward her rather than away. Others think the audio was layered in after the fact, noting how clean and consistent the sound is regardless of how far he moves. But if it's simply an effect, why secure the door with a nail? The following video was recorded by a woman who was home alone at night when she began hearing sounds she couldn't immediately explain. And what she captured on camera has left a lot of people genuinely unsettled. She's lying in bed in a dimly lit bedroom, smartphone in hand, when she mentions hearing something strange, possibly an owl outside. Watch.
Okay. I don't know if that was an owl. Or what that was. Why does this shit always happen when I'm home alone? You know what my fears is? Because this is the second floor. And somebody's gonna climb up that tree and like come in through this window. Or like I just open up these curtains and there'll be somebody freaking staring at me. I can't do it. I'm fine. You're fine. Everything's fine. You look. You go out first. Is this good? Is the coast clear? I'll pee my pants, bro.
A deep, distorted male voice seems to come from somewhere inside the room itself. What makes the moment especially unsettling isn't just the voice, it's that the response almost sounds reassuring, as though whatever spoke wasn't simply making a noise, but reacting to what she just said. Some viewers believe the voice may have come from another room in the house, a nearby television, or even audio distortion caused by the phone's microphone. Low-light recordings can sometimes compress sound in unusual ways, making distant voices seem much closer than they actually are. But across several traditions, witnesses have warned against responding to unexplained voices heard in empty houses at night, believing that once something acknowledges you, and you acknowledge it in return, the encounter can escalate beyond simple noises. Whether this was a trick of acoustics, an unseen person elsewhere in the house, or something much harder to explain remains unknown. But one question has lingered with viewers ever since. If she really was home alone, who answered her? This next clip comes from a home security camera recording a kitchen in the middle of the night. No people, no pets, no movement of any kind. The house is quiet, the kitchen is empty, and a large watermelon is sitting near the edge of the counter, right where someone left it. Nothing happens for the first few seconds. Then something changes. Watch. The watermelon rolls forward on its own and tips off the counter, shattering on the floor. No one nearby, no cat jumping up, no vibration you can point to. It just moves. Some believe this is classic poltergeist activity, objects displaced by an unseen force with no mechanical explanation. Others think whatever is in that house wanted to be noticed. Either way, the kitchen stays completely still after, as if nothing happened at all. This next footage was captured by a security camera inside what appears to be a retail convenience store. The camera overlooks the rear cooler aisle with refrigerated drinks lining one wall, snack displays nearby, and a frozen slushy machine sitting quietly in the corner. Whoever reviewed the footage was simply checking the security recordings, never expecting to find anything unusual. Watch. For a brief moment, what appears to be a human hand seems to emerge from inside the slushy machine before disappearing again. According to the person who shared the footage, they tried to find a reasonable explanation first. They considered whether it could have been overflowing product, a loose internal component, or even a trick of the camera. But after replaying the clip repeatedly, they remained convinced it looked unmistakably like a human hand. What made the footage even stranger, they said, was the layout of the store. The wall directly behind the machine leads into a dining area, not another room where someone could secretly reach inside the equipment. And with the machine operating during business hours, the idea of someone placing a hand inside it without anyone noticing seems highly unlikely. Of course, skeptics argue that low-resolution security footage is notorious for creating convincing illusions. So was this nothing more than an unfortunate visual illusion? Or did the security camera capture something paranormal? Now, in this next clip, security cameras inside Conejos County Hospital in Colorado captured something that has fueled stories people around the building have been telling for years. The footage comes from one of the hospital's quiet corridors, where little seems to happen after dark. According to people familiar with the property, one entire wing has been closed off for some time. Even so, staff and visitors have claimed that late at night they sometimes hear what sounds like children running through the hallways, laughing, talking, and playing in an area where no one is supposed to be. Watch.
It comes from way back there. And see, it's dark back there, so how are we able to see it? See?
Alright, I quit.
Oh, then it stalled right there. Do you see it? Go show that to Dr. Nelson. Be like, I think we need some medication. We're either seeing things or it's really there. Call them crazy house. All three of us.
The footage appears to show small, child-sized figures moving, and hospitals have long attracted paranormal legends, largely because they are places where countless moments of joy, grief, recovery, and loss have unfolded over decades. In many traditions, children are believed to leave behind what paranormal researchers call residual hauntings, not conscious spirits, but echoes of past moments replaying over and over, almost like an imprint left on a location. Whether these figures were simply camera artifacts, distant people distorted by perspective, or something connected to the stories surrounding the abandoned wing remains impossible to say. This next clip was captured by a home security camera overlooking a quiet driveway late at night. The woman who shared the footage explained that she'd simply stepped outside to feed her cat before walking over to her car to grab something from the trunk. Nothing about the evening felt unusual at the time. Watch.
buddy.
Before she gets to the back of the vehicle, a figure appears near the front of the car. What's especially unsettling is that it doesn't immediately move. It remains completely still for several seconds, almost as if it's watching her from the other side of the vehicle. Then, without warning, it suddenly darts across the driveway and disappears from view. According to the woman who posted the footage, she didn't see anyone while she was outside. It was only after reviewing the security camera that she noticed what looked like a person standing silently near the front of her car. If it was paranormal, it raises the obvious question of what exactly she captured, but if it was an actual person, that may be even more disturbing. Either way, the thought of something silently watching from the darkness, only revealing itself after the fact, is enough to leave anyone looking over their shoulder the next time they step outside at night. Now, in this next clip, a man named Ryan is in his kitchen late at night, using a tablet running a paranormal investigation app to attempt contact with whatever might be lingering inside his home. And from the very first question, the device starts answering back. He props the tablet on the counter, its screen showing a black and white night vision feed of an empty room with dark wood floors and 2 fireplaces, and a woman's voice, barely above a whisper, urges him to ask it something. He asks if it's a little girl, then a little boy, and something responds. Watch.
Booga booga booga. Hey. Hey.
Ask it.
No. Oh, there's an orb.
Ask it if it's a little girl.
Are you a little girl? Are you a little boy? Did you live here before? How about this? 2 ha's for yes, 1 ha for no. Okay? Okay. Are you a little boy? Are you a little girl? Are you grown? Okay. Is this your house? Is that your room? Are you a man? Are you a woman?
Ask if it's here too.
No, 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 you don't do that. Are you stuck here? Are you trying to get to the other side? How long have you been stuck here? More than 10 years? More than 20 years?
What you hear coming through that tablet is hard to categorize. Deep, breathy, guttural moans that arrive almost every time Ryan asks a direct question, and if you listen to how they vary in length, you'll notice he's actually managed to build a working yes or no system with it. 2 sounds for yes, 1 for no. The entity, if that's what it is, claims to be an adult, claims the house is its own, claims to have been stuck there for somewhere between 10 and 15 years. And when Ryan asks if it wants to join its family, the device responds with one of the most intense, multi-part sounds in the entire session. That moment hits differently. Ryan even introduces himself by name, and the thing on the other end responds. There's a brief exchange where he asks whether his son should be afraid, and the device first gives a short, sharp ha, the signal for no, then immediately follows it with a long, intense moan, which is a flat-out contradiction that Ryan doesn't ignore. Some viewers think the app is simply generating randomized audio responses, and that any perceived pattern is the brain doing what it always does, finding meaning in noise. Skeptics point to the fact that these spirit box-style apps are widely available, and their output can sound eerily responsive without any actual contact being made. But others aren't so sure, especially given how consistently the responses align with Ryan's questions throughout a nearly 7-minute session without a single obvious misfire. The final exchange is the one that lingers. Ryan tells whatever's there that they're going to take a break, and the device answers with a long, almost musical moan, like it understood exactly what he said. Whether that's a grieving presence or a very convincing algorithm, I'll leave that up to you to decide. The following video is about Nate, a man who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with or how to stop it. Over time, the activity in his house has gone from unsettling to genuinely alarming. He's been waking up with unexplained scratches on his body and hears footsteps moving through the house when no one else is there. One morning, after finishing his workout and preparing breakfast, he started hearing a clicking sound. At first, he assumed it was the TV, maybe even the heat vent, but after listening more closely, he realized the sound was coming from the kitchen. It sounded exactly like a stove burner clicking, the noise it makes right before igniting. Concerned it could be a gas issue, Nate rushed into the kitchen to check, and that's when this happened. Watch.
The pan is still on the stove, still warm. All the burners are off. But I kept hearing the clicking, like the burner was trying to come on. Like I said, I just finished cooking. I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I was hearing. And it sounded like it was... Bro. Why with the knives? Why with the knives? Why? Why with the knives?
The clicking sound alone was disturbing, because this was the first time it had ever happened. But what really pushed viewers into panic was what followed, the knife. For the fact that this wasn't the first time, many believe this moment marks a shift in whatever Nate is dealing with. Paranormal researchers often say there's a difference between passive activity, noises, footsteps, shadows, and intentional aggression. Throwing objects, especially sharp ones, is widely considered a warning sign. And the most terrifying part is that Nate hasn't figured out what to do next. So, until more updates are given, this case remains completely unsolved. This next video was captured by a home security camera. Around 2 a.m., the homeowners received a motion alert and decided to check the footage, expecting maybe an animal or someone passing by. But what they saw left them shaken. Watch. The family replayed the clips several times, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. When they were unable to come up with a logical explanation, they shared the footage with a few of their neighbors, hoping someone might recognize the figure, or at least explain why it looked so disturbingly human. The video ended up spreading, and longtime residents of the area immediately knew who, or what, the figure resembled. According to locals, the apparition looked strikingly similar to a woman who died in a car accident near that very stretch of road back in 1948. For decades, people who've lived in the area have quietly shared stories about a woman seen walking late at night, appearing briefly, then vanishing without a sound. Some believe spirits tied to sudden deaths don't realize they're gone, repeating the same path night after night. Others think certain locations become imprinted with trauma, replaying fragments of the past like a broken recording. What makes this even more unsettling is that the family who captured this footage had only recently moved in. They had no knowledge of the area's history, no stories passed down, no warnings. So for now, all anyone can hope is that appearing and disappearing in the dead of night is all she ever does. Now, in this next clip, Kyle heads down to his basement early in the morning, and this time it's nothing like what he's dealt with before. In the past, it was children giggling, soft footsteps, the sound of something small moving around. But this morning, it's loud and violent. Watch.
Footsteps all freaking night. Who's knocking on my basement door?
When the noise stopped, Kyle opened the door and found no one there. At first, he went for the simplest explanation. Maybe someone heard him coming and ran, maybe it was a prank, or maybe there's a logical reason he just hasn't thought of yet. But that theory falls apart almost immediately. Outside, the ground is covered in fresh snow. If anyone had been down there, child or adult, there should have been footprints leading away from the house, but there were none. Whatever was by the door didn't leave the way a physical person would, or maybe it didn't need to leave in the first place, because it's in the house just changing how it manifests. Some believe this suggests the activity is evolving, because it once sounded playful, now it feels aggressive. For Kyle, this isn't just another strange moment to shrug off, it's another unanswered question in a situation that keeps escalating, and becoming harder to explain. So until more updates are shared, this one remains unsolved. In this next video, a family says they've been tormented by relentless knocking late at night. Sometimes it's light, other times it turns into aggressive banging on the front door, loud enough to send the children into tears. The father has tried everything he knows, cleansing the house, daily prayers, asking for protection, and each time it works, but only temporarily. One night they woke up again, but this time it wasn't knocking that pulled them out of sleep. Listen closely.
Sí, pero... No. Pero no es... No. Ya sabes que no es la niña, ya no va a ir aquí. Ya sabes que no es la niña. Pues espérate.
Está aquí afuera, ¿ah?
Sí, no habrá pasado algo.
No, tú tranquila, no pasó nada. Es eso que nos habla. Pero no le voy a abrir. Voy a bajar. No mames, güey. Ah, cabrón. Miren, amigos, no hay nadie. Ya es de madrugada y mis hijos no están, se fueron a dormir con su abuela. No hay absolutamente nadie. Escuchan los ruidos. Uy. Escuche. Yo creo que ya no es hora de estar. Yo escucho aquí. Son casi las 2 de la madrugada. Ya les mostré. No hay absolutamente nadie. Ya está todo cerrado. Está todo cerrado y me voy.
What immediately unsettled viewers is that the voices being heard sound like a girl, yet the kids in the house who are old enough to speak weren't even home that night. But there's another detail people couldn't ignore. In the house is a Labubu doll. While Labubu is widely known as a collectible designer toy, online forums are filled with unsettling stories tied to it. Some owners claim their dolls move slightly when no one is around. Others report unexplained knocking, whispering, or a sudden shift in atmosphere after bringing one into their home. A few even say activity escalated after prayers or cleansing, a detail that eerily mirrors this family's experience. Skeptics argue the doll is just a coincidence, a harmless object becoming a focal point because fear needs something tangible to attach to. But others believe objects don't have to cause paranormal activity to become anchors for it, especially in homes where something already seems to be present. What makes this case disturbing is the pattern. The knocking stops after cleansing, then returns, the voices mimic children who aren't there, and whatever is happening doesn't seem driven away, just temporarily pushed back. So is the doll acting as a trigger? Or is this something entirely unrelated, using familiar sounds to provoke fear? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, this next clip was recorded inside a retirement home, a building with a quiet but unsettling history. Long before it became a care facility, the property reportedly served as a private infirmary in the early 1900s, taking in patients who were considered too difficult for hospitals at the time. Several former staff members have claimed that deaths were frequent, poorly documented, and often handled during overnight hours to avoid upsetting residents. Over the years, rumors spread about certain rooms being avoided by night nurses, especially those on the upper floors. At around 3 a.m. one morning, this happened.
Oh, I know where that's at.
We have left God's past to follow our own. The sins of us all. I can't think of any better reason to do the next good thing today, so let's pass on. I'm Alex, and this reverse of the day, I'm positive, encouraging Caleb.
We work with a lot of dead people.
What makes this moment disturbing is where the man recording was standing. Before the radio started blaring, he was directly below the room and didn't hear a single footstep above him. So, who turned it on? At first, staff tried to brush it off as a one-time glitch, but about an hour later, it happened again.
Dude, no. 'Cause no. Dude, no.
Oh, hell no. It turned on again? You're lying.
And someone had to turn the dial all the way the other way for it to be doing this. I don't know what's going on.
Again this time, there were no signs of anyone entering or leaving the room. Months later, after a string of more subtle occurrences, doors found unlocked, lights switched on in empty rooms, the faint sound of movement in halls long after residents were asleep, the man experienced something far more unsettling. Listen closely.
I am hearing shit. And it sounds like me.
Different words can be heard clearly. Phrases like, "What are you doing?" And then, as he stood on the stairs, a voice saying, "She's coming." In places like retirement homes, where residents, nurses, and night staff move quietly through dim corridors, some believe spirits linger, attached to routines, rooms, or even specific people. So what's the case here? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. His next stop was the children's room, a space filled with old, unsettling dolls. The last time Ian was here, this section of the house left him more shaken than any other. This time, he carefully scanned the room, trying to see if anything or anyone was present.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Holy moly. I'm not alone. I am not alone in here. Okay, just calm down. Let's take a look.
What makes this moment especially disturbing is that just moments earlier, Ian had clearly seen the bear sitting completely still beneath the chair. As if that wasn't enough, just as Ian prepares to leave the room and move on to the next section of the house, something else happens.
Look in that room with the cursed painting again. I don't know. Oh, what the? What the? That sounds like jiggling, like a doorknob. Who's in here? The hairs on my arm are standing on end right now. I literally heard like a jiggling sound. It sounded like a doorknob. I don't know. Is it this one? Did you just jiggle this doorknob? Maybe it was one of the dressers. Oh my god. Okay. I can hear it. It is coming from the closet. Look at that. That thing is moving. I can hear that clear as day. Why are you jiggling that doorknob? Are you in the closet? Just trying to keep my camera on it in case it moves. Look at it. Dude, it is moving. Do you hear that? Look at it. Is there someone behind this? There's gotta be someone. Look at that, dude. You can literally see it moving. Dude, the door is moving. Oh my god. Oh, jeez Louise. That door is shaking.
The closet doorknob began rattling violently on its own, as if someone was standing just on the other side, trying to get out. This wasn't the sound of settling wood or a loose latch. The movement was forceful. Children's rooms are often said to be hotspots in haunted locations, not because of the children themselves, but because spirits are believed to use toys and familiar objects to provoke attention or fear. And in this case, it feels less like playful activity and more like something reacting to Ian's presence. The question is, was whatever moved the bear the same thing trying to get out of that closet, or something else entirely? This investigation is far from over. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by a man named Nate, who has spent months trying to understand what's happening inside his house. His experiences didn't begin all at once. They built up slowly. First, it was the voices, faint, unclear, and easy to dismiss. Then came the scratches, thin marks appearing on his skin overnight with no explanation. And then the kitchen became the center of it all. Objects shifting, things falling, and disturbances that made it impossible for more than a few quiet days to pass. But one morning, everything felt different and too quiet until this happened.
So I'm in the middle of working out, and I hear shuffling and banging coming from the kitchen or the basement. I'm not sure which one. It was loud though, super loud. I almost dropped the weights, it was so startling. Hello? I was just in there working out. Nobody in the kitchen. Back door. It's locked. Nobody here, of course.
After Nate says hello, a voice responds, "You hear me?" Then when Nate says, "I don't understand," something whispers again, but whatever it says isn't fully clear. Many viewers believe the voice sounds like a child, meaning the spirit of a child might be attached to the home, especially since child spirits are often associated with scattering objects and trying to get attention. But others aren't convinced it's harmless because scratches, whispers, and intelligent responses don't always point to something innocent. But I'll leave you to be the judge. Now, this next clip was captured by a family's CCTV camera, and it's the exact moment the father finally stopped dismissing everything his family had been experiencing. For months, strange things had been happening inside their home. The kids would run into the room crying, saying they saw someone standing nearby. His wife would occasionally freeze mid-conversation, convinced she had just heard a voice close to her ear. But every time he reassured them it was nothing. Stress, imagination, or the house settling. Until one evening when he was alone babysitting their youngest child while working on his computer. Watch this.
Ball! He's not catching ball with you? Yeah. Do you need somebody to play ball?
As you can see, the refrigerator door suddenly opens on its own. He immediately stands and walks toward it, clearly expecting to find someone standing there, maybe one of the kids or an explanation he could finally point to. But there's nothing. Some people believe this could be a poltergeist, a type of presence known for physically interacting with objects, opening doors, and making its presence known in subtle but deliberate ways. And now, for the first time, he's no longer trying to explain it away. He's trying to find answers. Until then, this remains unsolved. The following footage was captured by a CCTV camera in a woman's yard at around 3 a.m., an hour many people already associate with unexplained activity. At first, everything looks normal and the yard is quiet, still, and completely empty. But then, out of nowhere, something appears. Watch this carefully. After reviewing the footage, she said she couldn't convince herself it was anything normal. She insists there was no one outside that night. No neighbors, no visitors, no one who could explain what her camera captured. Moments like this raise a disturbing thought, because every night while most people are asleep, the world becomes quiet enough for other things to move unnoticed. Things that pass through empty streets, across silent yards, and disappear long before anyone ever realizes they were there. The camera simply caught what the human eye wasn't meant to see. So the question is, what exactly walked through her yard that night? You decide. This next video was recorded by a woman who works at a 911 dispatch center, a place where every call could mean the difference between life and death. And if you've ever worked late nights in a building like that, you know how quiet it gets. Because once the calls stop coming in, once the radios fall silent, there's nothing left but empty hallways, dim lights, and your own thoughts. But in her case, she wasn't alone. She had already been experiencing strange things for weeks. Phones would ring. Even though they weren't connected to any active line, drawers would slowly slide open on their own, and sometimes, in the middle of complete silence, she would hear what sounded like someone whispering her name. The scariest part? It all seemed to begin the exact day her boss mentioned relocating the dispatch center to a new building, almost as if something there had heard it and didn't want them to leave. Watch this.
So not work again. Poulters acting up as we're now referring to her. Maybe it's somebody. I don't know. Nobody should be here. There's literally no one here.
Places like this hold more than equipment and desks. They hold emotion, panic, fear, and final words. Dispatchers are often the last voice someone hears before everything changes forever, so a lot of people believe that kind of energy doesn't simply disappear, and in this case is finally revealing itself. After she posted that footage, viewers urged her to try communicating with whatever was there. Some believed it might be trying to get her attention. Others warned her never to acknowledge it, saying that recognition can make activity worse. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened.
So, y'all have been following my polter diaries here lately. So I'm pretty sure there's something standing in the doorway to the break room. Am I crazy, or is that somebody standing there? I don't... Y'all see that?
The moment she notices the movement, her entire body freezes, because this time, there's no denying it. Something is there with her. Her boss eventually stepped in, promising she wouldn't have to work alone anymore, but his decision wasn't just about protecting her, it was about confirming if what she was saying was true. One night, she returned, this time with someone else present, and what they captured next changed everything.
Hey guys, this is just an update to let you all know that I'm okay. I'm back at work today, but I'm no longer working by myself. I have someone here with me. Everything's been fine so far. We haven't had anything today, so... And here we go. What was that? What? It came from the hallway. Oh my god. No. Oh my god.
The thought that someone was in the attic or came out from the attic unsettled them. And since that night, there's been no clear explanation of what was truly inside that dispatch center, only the footage, and the disturbing possibility that some places remember every emergency that ever happened inside them,